Hello, Psych 201 students. Just wanted to address you here as the first week of summer term comes to a close. I've decided to go with the casual brown background and green shirt for my address to you. Definitely in summer mode, but working hard, enjoying the online experience with you, and also with another class I teach, Learning and Memory Psychology 341. So we've got two classes going and enjoying reading the forum discussion posts for Psych 201. Wanted to make a few comments about those. I've graded them and typed in some comments here and there for people, but if I didn't write you an individual message, don't be offended. I'll try to, at least address each person throughout the term. At least I try to, but just in case, I always like to just do a little webcam address to check in and give you my thoughts on the forum. The first question that I asked you to look into was whether psychology strives to and adheres to a scientific methodology. And I feel like the overwhelming consensus was that it it does. It does adhere to a methodology, and it is a scientific discipline, and people often contrast it with other sciences and refer to it as more of a soft science, which is fair enough. Um, for the most part, I think that I think we sometimes the idea that sciences like biology or medicine are far more replicable or rigorous than psychology. Sometimes that idea is a little bit oversold. But also, on the other hand, psychology, as you've seen from reading chapters 1 and 2, lends itself to um, its fair share of pseudoscience, and that's unfortunate. You have a lot of people that pirate or co-opt psychological ideas and principles, and then use those to sell some kind of idea that has no basis in scientific thinking. And speaking of going in this direction here in this theme of pseudoscience, you have a related um, problem, which is fraud. And most people rightly, I think, pointed out that it certainly is not unique to psychology. Um, a lot of people posted comments as to why somebody would do something like that either referred to something that was systemic, as in the problem with scientific fraud is related to the enterprise or just the practice of science, and others looked at maybe more dispositional characteristics, looking at Dietrich Stoffel and saying, well, he was a narcissist, or he, which he probably was, a narcissist, or he was a self promoter and just wanted fame and glory, kind of like a professional athlete that overdoes it. So, but there's not a right or wrong there. No, there's not. It's both systemic and inherent to the individual that engages in that kind of fraud, but certainly not unique to psychology. There are a lot of other cases you can find in physics and chemistry, biology, in any social science. It happens. I would not say that it's rampant. A few people maybe use some stronger language to refer to the nature of the problem of fraud in the sciences. I hope it's not rampant. It certainly does occur, um, but by and large, outright fraud like that is not rampant. However, what might be more problematic, and I wouldn't necessarily say rampant, but a more consistent problem in science is a problem with replication, replicating results. Just recently, a review of replication results in cancer research showed that there's a very, very low percentage of studies that get replicated. Somebody goes in and follows the exact same methodology, and they don't find the same thing as the original authors did. And that happens in psychology. And here's something interesting. The last item that I asked you guys to write about, a question I asked you to address, was what you think can be done to reduce or prevent fraud in psychology or in the sciences in general. People came up with a lot of interesting ideas, I thought, looking at it from an institutional perspective, more oversight from an institutional review board, more people with hands on deck within a laboratory who are paying attention to that kind of thing, more checks and balances for how data is recorded and reported and things like that. A lot of the ideas that you guys actually came up with in your posts are consistent with what's called the Replication Initiative, which is something that the Association for Psychological Science, a national organization for scientific psychology, has initiated. And what they're doing is asking people when they publish a paper to register their results with the replication initiative, meaning that they, in addition to submitting their paper, they submit data that it can be checked. It's completely transparent. People can look at it, look at everything. They can go in and reanalyze data. They are given actual study materials. They provide actual study materials that another laboratory could go and run the study again to see if they can replicate it. And so that integrity and the development of procedures to instill that integrity in scientific laboratories, starting with psychology, is happening right now. A couple months ago, I was at the APS, the Association for Psychological Science meeting, and there was a symposium on this replication initiative that was really fascinating. And people were talking about procedures when they submit an article for publication, which some of you in your posts had parroted the phrase "publish or perish," which is that's true. There is a publish or perish um, ethos or mentality in a lot of universities, and what they've were advocating at this meeting was asking people to submit for publication the introduction, the literature review, and the methods for their study, but not the results. They would their paper would be accepted or rejected based on what they were proposing to do, and if they accepted the paper, regardless of what was found in the results, the paper would still get published. So they might end up publishing negative results, which a lot of people don't find interesting. Well, you found nothing, so why would I read your paper? Well, in science, we want to know, is it a real phenomenon? If it's not, we need to have access to papers like that so people don't keep replicating, or not replicating, but doing studies that can't be replicated, and building a foundation for a science based on results that can't be replicated. So there's a lot going on in psychology with this, and speaks to this first topic that you all wrote about. So thanks for your posts to the forum. Just a couple notes about class. This coming week we'll be looking at the biological basis of behavior and also the topic of sensation and perception. So looking forward to exploring those topics with you. I'll be getting some materials up on the Moodle for those topics here before next week starts. Pardon the snafus that have occurred within my psych lab. Some people have had some troubles with logging in or completing simulations and things like that. I'll send out an email about that. I talked to the tech support people about the problems that people were having, and hopefully we'll get everything, all the troubleshooting done this week, so that next week things run smoothly for everybody. Feel free to contact